love this. It's our standard Wednesday night chat. Let me see if I can just move this camera to the right spot. Oh, it's always in the wrong spot. Just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Can you please tell me that you can hear me? That would be really great. And like I said, excited to be here and excited to talk about how we can help you to create community, because it's just more important than ever right now. If you know someone that needs to come and listen to this, if you've got a friend that's got issues with their hormones or their body, or they want to ask a question, please let them know that we're here. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. And the same goes for Facebook. I'd love to make sure that you can hear us. That would be awesome. I'll just give it another minute or so. We're not here for a long time because Facebook always boots me off. So we'll get going in just a second. Love it. Love it. All right, guys. So make sure that if you are joining, like I said, you let anyone know that might benefit from coming and talking about how to create your community and why it's really important when it comes to your health and your hormones, obviously. We're all about that. I know I love this song too, Livy. We'll kill the song for now and we'll get it straight into it. And then, you know, as usual, I've got some goodies to share with you at the end. I've always got something for you to take away. And, of course, always got special offers. Hi, Nicole. So let's stop that. Let's stop that. And let's just be here for all of the goods. So I just recognized how important it is more than ever to make sure that you are spending time with people that actually are good for you to spend time with, and how important this is when it comes to your health and your hormones. I'm seeing a trend in the clinic at the moment where there definitely are a lot of women who feel rubbish, and literally we are keeping them head above water. And I think part of the challenge is navigating your way through the people that you spend time with. And so, like I said, if you, as always, we will go, you know, I always have, I try and have information for you guys. And then, of course, I want to give you backup information. So if you miss this or you're coming late or you're watching a replay, I'll always share in my next lot of slides, kind of like covering off a way that you've got all of this in the one place that you don't have to go searching for it. So look out for that, especially on Instagram. I'll share that tonight and it'll probably get shared on Facebook tomorrow. Just recouping. That's not the word. Recapping. Recapping what we're talking about. And like I said, get anyone over here that needs to listen to this, tag them in, come over, and of course ask questions. So one thing, like I said, I recognize is that it's really difficult when you've got, we are the average of the 5 people we spend our most time with. And when you've got a lot of information coming at you, a lot of opinions, a lot of what can feel like judgment, just around the choices that you might be making or how you feel about certain things. It's interesting, but you know, the more time we spend, the more time we listen, the more time we're affected to this, and the more we might lose ourselves and where we would ordinarily operate from. So it is really, really, I think, important to consider where you are connecting with your community and who is your community, and are these people in your corner? And you know, it is really important. Never before have we been so disconnected from belonging in a community, and it gives us such a great sense of support and purpose when we belong to a community. Whether, you know, it definitely in past times gone by, I think people were definitely more connected to their local community. They were definitely more connected to people that had similar beliefs, whether that was religion or through various clubs or associations. That's not to mention sporting clubs or just whatever these conglomeration of human beings are, that they help us to be who we are. And so I think the main things that, thank you, we miss you. I think the main things to be aware of is that there are kind of, when I was thinking about this, there's sort of like 6 or 7 main things that community gives us. And these are support, like I said, purpose, influence, because we get to help to influence others, connection, sharing, and reinforcement. And without these things, we can feel really lost. And at the moment, we may or may not be getting them, but it's really more important than ever that we make this happen for ourselves, and that we find a way to carve out time, energy, connection, and that we diligently do try to connect with people that actually make us feel really good. And like I said, you know, it's very difficult when you're hearing a lot of information or you're feeling very secluded and hearing information, trying to download that in your head, because especially for women, the nature of how we are, we want to talk about it. We want to download, we want to unpack it, and we want to obviously draw on those around us as well to help us do that, whether it's a time of crisis or whether we're there to listen to somebody else. It's twofold, right? It's what you can give, and it's what you can get by giving, and what you can gain when you're not having a good time. And I can guarantee you at the moment, whilst a lot of people feel very disconnected and quite low, there are people that thrive in circumstances of what's the right word I'm looking for? People that thrive under pressure, and people that thrive in crisis. And really finding who those people are for you right now is very important, so that you can just feel like you're getting the support that you need. Doesn't matter what other people think. It's actually about how can I help you get the support that you need. So I've got some tips I want to cover off before I start to answer any questions that you've got, whether it's related to community, whether it's related to how that's impacting your body. I want you to know that it's not disproportionate to the way your body's behaving right now. If you're finding that your symptoms are worse than ever, this is one simple thing that you can go and do to hopefully make a difference. And I really want to help you to, like I said, to be able to find the right people to spend your time with, to unpack with, so that you don't have to feel anything less than supported in every moment, every waking moment. Every day you wake up and you know that you're all good because you've got these people in your corner. So some things to think about. Let me just bring up my little slides that I'm going to share with you later. Not here. You get them later on if you do jump on over on have a look at what I share after we say goodbye here. I generally share it this evening. But I want to teach you. I want to have this discussion about how you can intentionally design the community that you are surrounded by. How can you do that knowingly, consciously, and how can you do it in a way that you're not hurting anybody if you have to let go of some people, but you also are getting what you need, because that's the main thing. And also, especially as women, we often hang on to people that, don't make us feel good, that bring us down, that sometimes we actually need to have the hard conversations. And I can promise you now more than ever is a great time to do that, because you're not necessarily seeing these people anyway. And it might be a good time to evaluate whilst you're not constantly in their ethos. So how do we do this? And so what I want you to do is following any social interaction that you have, whether it's online or off, whether it's at the park, whether it's you're lucky enough to be going out for dinner and seeing people if you're not, restricted, or whether it's on social media. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, do I feel more energized now than before the interaction after you've seen them? This is. So following any social interaction, do I feel energized now more than I did before the interaction? Do I feel supported and heard? And do I feel excited for the next time that I'm able to have an interaction with this person? Like I said, I'll share this with you after, so don't stress out. But these are 3 things that we can ask ourselves. It really comes back to, how do you feel after you have been in certain company with people? Do you feel better or do you feel worse? And also, maybe you felt pretty average before you met up with them. And then after spending some time with them, just by being in their presence, you feel better all of a sudden. And these are the people that we get to curate. We get to curate who we're spending time with. We get to curate who we're watching. We get to actually do that. It's easier said than done, but I'm going to give you some ideas around that as well. So perhaps you've noticed that there's certain people that you really would like in your corner. There's certain people that you see maybe on, they're friends of friends, or they're on social media, or wherever they might be. If you've answered yes to any of these questions, sorry, I've skipped ahead. Let's go again. If you've answered yes to any of these questions, that sounds like you have an awesome community already. So move on, wait for the questions, or just chill out here. But if you've answered no, then it's time to make some changes. Like I said, if you walk away from these people and you don't feel good, then we need to work out how we can make you feel better. And so I want to talk through 2 things. How you can bring the right people in, and how you can let go of the people that aren't necessarily serving you at the moment. Now, how to reach out to someone you'd like to be friends with, especially online. These people that you're like, oh gosh, I'd like to be friends with them. I'm sure I'd love some love hearts to know if I'm the only person that does that. I'm like, they're my person. I would really like to have a conversation with them without looking like a weirdo and having them in my corner. First of all, totally reach out and just be you. There are so many people that I interact with on here that I love to chat with, And I do that because they've shown up, they've been authentic, and I'm really, really wanting to genuinely chat with people. So don't be afraid to do that. But it might be something like, oh, I just saw that you went on a hike the other day and it looked amazing. There's actually some really beautiful places near my house. If you would ever like to do that or go for a walk, I'd love to show you. Maybe don't start with that, but maybe that's a good leading question that you can start to bring the right people into your life. I have to teach my daughter to do this. She doesn't know that people don't say hello if you don't say hello first. It's very frustrating. But truly, humans love interaction. And I'm a person of, like I say this every single time, which is why I love your love hearts. My love language is words of affirmation. When you send me a message and you're like, love this, or thanks for sharing that, that makes my day. And I absolutely love to talk to people. So whether it's, I'm not saying it's going to be me, but go and find the person that you are watching and you're like, I really want to talk to that person. Because chances are if you send them a message and they're authentically showing up, you want the authentic people anyway, right? Then this is the big one. How to disconnect from someone you feel doesn't align with you anymore. Now, I think now is more than ever, we've stepped right back. We've really pared things back. People are generally very we're secluded at the moment. We're not spending time with people. It's a great time to assess. But also, perhaps you haven't spoken to these people for a long time and you don't miss it, or perhaps you see that the text message flashes up on your phone. You're like, oh my goodness, I haven't missed this interaction. Check in with how you feel, definitely, like we said at the beginning. And then you can do things like this. Now, this is obviously at the point where you've decided that it's time. It's time to just move on, which is difficult to do sometimes as well, especially, like I said, as women, we're nurturers. We continue to care for people, even if we're being drained ourselves. And this is what we have to assess. So, hey, one thing you could say is, hey, I really appreciate the invite to hang out, but my interests have shifted in the past year and I just feel like we've drifted apart a little bit. I really respect you as a friend. I hope that you can understand. Or something to that effect. Or you're really important to me, but honestly, I think we've grown a little bit apart. Just being honest with people, I think, is really important. It's very difficult, but you know what? After you do that, check in on how you feel. It doesn't mean you're never going to be friends again. It just means that at the moment, it's just not a fit. It's just not working, and it's bringing you down on a daily basis or a however long basis. But the fact is that we all need someone to lean on. And especially now more than ever. And of course, like I said at the beginning, you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So you really need to make these people absolutely count. And so, if you value yourself enough, then it is important that you really do make an effort to bring in the people that inspire and support you. It also might mean just muting some accounts on social media for a little while. Doesn't mean you're befriending them, doesn't mean you're not watching on if you don't want to, but you can mute them so that you don't actually see their updates. And you know what? Social media does it for you anyway. It tends to curate what you want to see more of. So utilize that to your advantage. How nice that you can curate your Twitter feed or your social media to constantly reinforce what you want to see, and you can do away with what you don't want to see. So if certain things are triggering you right now, you get to choose whether or not you allow them to keep on triggering you. And I can promise you, it's so nice when you can just turn that all off, right? It's like putting your fingers in your ears and going, la, 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 la. How good? How good is that for us to be able to do? So I want to answer any questions that anyone might have as usual. I've never had anyone not ask questions at this point, which makes me wonder. I hope everybody can actually hear me. But of course, as always, yes, let's start to do a little bit more of that. And I'd love to hear if anyone has actually done this. Like, have you actually been brave enough to say break up with a friend? I didn't break up with a friend, but I have had times where I've drifted apart from friends and we've had to actually have adult conversations and say, this isn't working right now. This is way too hard. And it's actually harder to be friends than not. And the nice thing about that too is I can guarantee you that true friends, A, they respect each other enough to do that. And B, in my experience, come back into your life again, which is absolutely the best because you know that you've actually put it to the test. I'm just going to see if there are any questions I'm missing. No, nothing on Instagram, which is so bizarre. All right, hit me with your hormone stuff, peeps? Like, what's happening to you at the moment that you've experienced that's actually not normal? What is it that at the moment you're going, do you know what? I know that there's questions out there. I get questions in my inbox all the time. If only I had enough time to actually answer them all. But also, there's so many resources out there. So if you do have questions and you're watching this as a replay, and you're not sure where to start, do not hesitate to head to my website. Go in, type in on natkringoudis.com, go and type in the search bar what your question might be, and hopefully you should get an answer with that. There's plenty of answers there for you. I've got some more things I want to tell you about since lots of flushing in my skin, rosacea. Is it in your face or is it in your body? It's a good question. There are a lot of questions right now that are just abnormal for people. So, I'd love to know if that's in your face or your body. That was my question back to you. And major hair loss. What's the usual hormone connection? So hair loss is a very interesting one because it can happen. Face is, I'm answering two questions simultaneously here. Face, definitely, I'd go to speak to your skin person about rosacea, definitely. But it definitely can be treated, and you need to often treat it internally as well as externally. Hair loss can be a result of malnutrition, which means it can be also a result of poor gut function, not getting the nutrients that it requires to then go on and allow your hair to be nourished. So that becomes a vitamin and mineral deficiency. It can be thyroid related, definitely the most common that we see, but it can also be due to elevated androgens or excess testosterone specifically. So you need to work out which one that's going to be, and it's not that hard to do. Yes, you can test for that 100%. But you can also look at your symptoms to profile your symptoms, which I'm all for that. And if you want to also go back, I have done IGTV about hair not that long ago. So maybe go back through once we've hung up the phone. No, once we've said goodbye here, go and check that out because that's somewhere that you might be able to get some more information. We did a whole week on hair not too long ago, a whole week on hair loss not too long ago. I just wanted to have a look. Close, don't I? Sorry, Facebook. I get really close when that happens. I just realised. I should have turned my emails off before we started. PMS symptoms are out of control. I have an IUD, and I don't normally. I think it's supposed to say bleed and have symptoms, but it's worse at the moment. Everything is worse for everybody at the moment. It's because nothing is normal, and collectively, there's just a stressed tone across the planet. So I would be saying when it comes to this, looking at without going too far into that, because it's difficult to know which hormones are at play. It's definitely progesterone, but you got to work out why. Is it low estrogen? Is it high estrogen? Are your periods heavy? You're saying that you don't normally have a period, so that's a breakthrough bleed. Well, breakthrough bleed, it means you've ovulated, I guess, with your IUD. And that happens from time to time with an IUD anyway. Some women continue to cycle and others don't cycle at all, so it just depends. Look, if you're not taking magnesium, then start with that. That's always a good place to start. And B vitamins. And also jump over onto my website, search PMS. There's a whole lot of tips over there for you that you can do starting now to help with that. Yes, rosacea can be caused by gut issues. Yes, skin is always directly linked to the gut, but it's not the only issue. So you need to look at other factors as well. What's this say? My period came 10 days early and lasted for 8 days instead of 4 days. It wasn't particularly heavy, but I'm always super regular. Yeah, this seems to be happening a lot for women at the moment as well. And there's lots of theories as to why that's happening. I would say anything as a one-off, don't worry about it. But if it happens again, then definitely it's something to explore. Things happen out of the blue all of the time, even just as a response to elevated stress levels. So if something's happening just as a one-off, then you can probably just observe and park it and feel confident in the fact that it was just a wonky month. But if it continues to happen, then absolutely you should go to your health provider and check out what's going on because there's a reason that's happening. And that sounds particularly different for you, which, like I said, if it happens again, go and see your health provider. Histamine intolerance around ovulation period. Is it a liver issue? It can be liver, it can be gut. It's particularly interesting. You need to go and check out Dr. Becky Campbell. She's a specialist with histamine and hormones. And And I think you'd find a lot of information out over there. But yes, you need to look at the relationship with ovulation, with estrogen and histamine. So definitely go and check out her Instagram page. She shares a lot of that there. Can a 12-year-old have leaky gut and can it be fixed? Anything can be fixed. Pretty much anything can be fixed. And, well, do you have leaky gut? Because she's inherited your gut. So that's what I would be also looking at to see what your body wisdom can pass on to her. We should all do this as parents. We should all, as mothers, we should all know our discrepancies, our deficiencies, our imbalances can very well become our children's. We're the blueprint. So this is why it's not only important to look after yourself and fix it for you, but know this about yourself and set them up so that doesn't have to happen. This is particularly useful for PCOS. Definitely PCOS actually, where, we can do enough things so that doesn't get turned on. Same with endometriosis. Like there's lots of factors that all come together to push someone to a point where these symptoms kind of get turned on and then we start to see evidence of the illness. So it's about working out what is doing that for you and how to sort that out. Look, now there's lots of questions just because we're about out of time. Any advice for recurring UTIs following copper IUDs since removed? Yeah, so check your zinc levels, definitely. Copper IUDs can zap the living daylights out of your zinc levels. So I'd start with that. And then for the recurrent UTI, probiotic is definitely a really important place to start, as well as removing inflammatory foods and really working on the microbiome and gut integrity. And that should really help. Where do I find your perimenopause classes? So I don't have a perimenopause class yet, but the last 2 weeks have told me something, and that is that we really need some more information around this. So you just need to literally go back over the last 2 weeks. I've been talking a lot about perimenopause. I've given you lots of information and resources. So literally go back through socials. It's all there for you to read. Sweaty armpits and palms. It's a really difficult one to answer without seeing you. There's lots of reasons why that can happen. I would want to know, are your feet sweaty too? Is your chest sweaty? When does it happen? Is it, related to emotions? It's hard for me to say. I'm sorry. Overactive bladder before the period. Oh, yes. So, progesterone is naturally a natural diuretic. It's a matter of working out, is there an imbalance with that? And why that's happening. Also, it could be inflammatory as well. It could be, I don't know if there's endometriosis or there's other issues at play, but it's definitely something that I would 100% encourage you to go and talk to health provider to see if you can sort out. A couple more things I want to say to this, guys. 2 things. Number 1, if you're sitting here going, I want to know more, I need to know more, I need help, I don't know how to do any of these things, I need to learn about my body, I need to learn how to turn my endometriosis or manage it and hopefully recover from it, or my PCOS or my fertility or my perimenopause, book club starts 1st of September, which is literally next week, and registration is closing. So you can head to the link in my profile on Instagram, and also you can on Facebook. I'll share it here. If you're watching the replay, you can grab it. But we are going to spend 4 weeks I'm going to spend 4 weeks helping you understand you, uniquely you. Even though we do this together as a group, we go through the chapters of the book. We spend time answering questions. I help you to understand your cycle. I help you to understand your signs and symptoms and what they're telling you. And we do this together in a really intimate setting, which means you get a lot of value that my patients would get when they're coming, obviously, into the clinic. And it is without doubt so much fun. And guess what it is, guys? It's a community. It's a community of like-minded people that come together with the one common theme or common desire, and that is to understand their own body in a safe way. That you can come and ask questions and not feel judged. Those questions that you want to ask your healthcare provider but you're too scared to, I'm here for it. I've created a safe community for you to do that. So book club does start on the 1st of September, which is next week. You need to be enrolled ASAP because it does include a copy of Beautiful You. And if you don't have a copy, we want to get that out to you as soon as possible. That said, you don't need it to start. The first week we actually set you up with the foundations to help you understand what's going to happen moving forward. And we really dive deep into your cycle. So If you've been thinking about it, now's definitely the time to do it because most of us have got nowhere else to be on a Wednesday night. Book club is every Wednesday night for one, depending if you choose the standard access or the VIP access, for an hour to an hour and a half. So definitely please go and check that out if you are craving community and you do want that support. The other thing I want to let you know, this does not happen very often, but there are a couple of available appointments this weekend at the clinic, which Saturdays usually for us are a really busy day, but for whatever reason this week people have needed to reschedule. So if you've been wanting someone to look at your hormones and you are desperate to grab an appointment, then that's something that you can do definitely. If you, again, head to the link in my profile, you can access the Pagoda Tree Clinic. Otherwise, again, I'll put these links for you as well. I think that's it for today, guys. I really want to encourage you to do everything you can to make yourself feel good right now. You don't need to, it literally is, what do I need to do today to feel better? Who are the people that I need to see or spend time with, or just get a hug from? You can get a virtual one maybe, just to feel better. And I think that's really important for us to all do. Oh, I made that way too quickly. I've loved chatting with you guys tonight, as always. I don't know whether we'll run AskNAT for the next 4 weeks. Sometimes book club does take up more of my time. So we'll see how we go. We might run a couple over the next month, but not weekly. But definitely come and join us for that. I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook because if the video goes too long, then it cuts out on me. So we'll say goodbye, Facebook. I'm very active there tonight.